No representative is available here. The Complete Instrumentation Solutions Private Limited. So, I think Nagar sir, nobody from the company is present. So, we may be able to conclude the session.
This complete instrument solution, nobody is there?
It seems nobody is there. If
Then probably house is lucky to have a early tea. So I would request to my co-chairman to kindly make use of the time and let us finish.
Just one,
Sir,
one question for McAfee.
kindly finish
Just
it,
one.
please.
Uh, in the presentation, it was shown that they have a manufacturing plant only at Pune. Is it the only manufacturing plant all over the country, or you have got any other manufacturing facilities? That is one. And what is the approximate cost of rock fall mitigation measures that we do in the format that you have shown here? What is the approximate cost per square meter of the rock area?
the questions were, one is the manufacturing plant, whether it is only in Pune. The second is, what is the approximate cost of the systems you have used? Isn't it, sir?
The, the cost per square meter of protecting a falling rock. That is what I want to know.
Sir, we do have manufacturing units in Pune and in Pune. Pune, we do have 2 factories. And the cost of the overall protection system was 25 crores. But right now, I don't know how much was the exact square meter which we have protected, but it is like you must have seen the whole hillock. And a drapery system was provided for a large square meter area. And more than that, for providing additional safety to prevent the rock mass which is coming from the top, again a barrier was provided. So this was a total cost along with the installation and everything.
One more thing, what is the guarantee and for how much period this protection is going to last?
First of all, for any natural mitigation, we cannot completely assure a 100% guarantee, but we can assure the products what we are applying here is not just without considering anything. There is an engineering judgment, like considering the size of the rock which can come, and it is all the products are being tested, it is certified. I can show you the certification, like the on-site tests which we have conducted with this product. So that quality we can assure. We can give you that quality assurance. So that is there that we can give from our side. From
You
our
can
company.
indicate any site where it was done say 7 to 10 years back and it is still working without any problem and without any replacement requirement.
Every site, and even in Mumbai-Pune Expressway, which was one of the challenging case, like which was being discussed in all the media in 2015. So there we have provided, and last monsoon it was survived without any problem, and there was rockfall incident happened, but our structure, what we have provided, could withstood that, and after the incident we could clear that, and the same structure is there, providing the security for the road, and it was a very key successful project.
For your
Not
information,
one,
I'm
similar one, or
in
whatever
charge
the
of
project.
Mumbai-Pune Expressway.
Not whatever we have provided. So you can see that, sir.
Thank you, sir. But you, even a star question
no.
one, you have taken more than 3 chances. Thank you very much, sir. So I am handing over to my co-chairman to kindly wind up, sir.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. We had very interesting presentations covering range of new technologies. We had a presentation on dowel bar scanning. These non-destructive testing devices, they will raise many questions, but I understand that in building sector, they are quite popular. And at some point of time, for better quality of roadworks, I mean, these devices have to be used. I'm not talking about specific kind of device which the presentation was there, but I can tell you like at IIT Roorkee, we purchased ground penetration radar some 7 years back. A PhD thesis was done. With that, we have generated better confidence on the equipment. So if the equipment manufacturers can educate the concessionaire, the contractors on use on the details of these equipments, that will generate better confidence. Then there was a presentation on the retroreflectivity, which is very important. The minister mentioned about safety of the highways. The signage system and the retroreflective paints are very important. And I tell you, they are the very expensive kind of devices, and many times the quality is a big question. So if you have objective measurement of the signage and the road markings, so it will generate better confidence on the safety aspect. There was some presentation on usage of wrap material. NBCC at IIT Roorkee has sponsored 2 projects on use of wrap material in flexible pavement and in rigid pavement. So like in 10-15 minutes, it is not possible to generate full confidence on such things, but those technologies are being applied elsewhere. And when we are thinking of wealth, like waste to wealth, these are the technologies which are going to be very useful. Then the presentation on rockfall barrier, in fact, there was a discussion, President IRC, Mr. Porwal, was talking about the disaster mitigation or developing resilient highways. These kind of technologies can be very useful, especially for highway development in hilly areas. So I believe that these technologies are definitely going to contribute towards the development of safe, resilient, and green highway system in the country. But definitely, they have to educate everyone, like the highway builder, the concessionaire, the researcher, the field professionals, so that the questions are answered in a transparent way and people generate better confidence in these technologies to put them to use. Thank you. Thanks a lot for this opportunity.
So thank you, sir.
Thank you, Naharji, for giving the opportunity to present the, this presentation. The topic is challenges in road development in India vis-a-vis advanced countries. My name is Venugopal Jonalgadda. I'm from Prasuna Infra. I myself have experience, 23 years experience, out of which 15 years has been outside India, with the 10 years in Europe, 2 years in Middle East, and 3 years in other Asian countries. So the presentation is basically put together based on our experience from different parts of the world. And as Principal Secretary said, during the inaugural session, that he said, when you go to foreign and come back, you wonder why the roads are, the situation is like this. So Minister also was mentioning yesterday his trip from San Francisco to Los Angeles. So this presentation gives some of the answers to the queries raised by both the Principal Secretary and the Minister. So these are the contents of the presentation. Basically, we are comparing the situation. We have taken, the Europe and Middle East and some Asian countries and comparing against the Indian conditions. So policy and planning. So generally, there are 8 steps involved in the policy planning, right from establishing policy goals and objectives to performing gap analysis, implementing the plan. So this is actually specified in the HDM, Highway Design Manual. But in Indian, we don't follow all the 8 steps. Some of the, we only follow, priorities and benefits cost analysis. And moving on to the traffic studies, internationally, there is a traffic model developed for the whole city or the whole country, and that gets updated on a monthly or quarterly basis. And they develop micro level, meso level, and macro level. So, and whenever there is a development is planned, and the traffic might be generating from those developments, and that model gets updated and checked against the current model. And they have a base model, and everyone has to use that model, and it gets updated on a monthly basis. And at the micro level, they go to the micro detailing, which gives a peak hour volume, and to see whether the new development supports or not. With the Indian conditions, not many cities have the strategic model, but some cities have, like Hyderabad and the Mumbai and Delhi. But when the government changes, they plan the satellite towns and the other developments. So they don't. I mean, those are not compared against the base model to see whether that's feasible or not. So then you end up, congestion and various other problems. And you are all familiar with the level of service figure. As the volume capacity ratio increases, the speed reduces. So most countries follow the level of service D, which is same in India, but we don't actually really adopt that, because of the lack of pedestrian walkways, and pedestrians become part of the traffic. If you look at this condition, the pedestrians are occupying more than half of the carriageway, reducing the level of service. So even though there's a footpath on the left side photograph, nobody is using. So there's no understanding of level of concept by both the agencies and the the general public. And moving on to the standards and guidelines, internationally, the standards are updated on a regular basis based on the inputs from road accidents, road user behavior, vehicle improvements, inputs from research institutions. If you take the case of DMRB, UK and Ireland, the design manual for roads and bridges, they have a consultant appointed for a 3 to 5 year period who update based on the innovations and the new technologies. If you look at some of the standards, the geometric design is 2008 latest, and barriers is 2012, and safety audits 2010. This, if you look at the Indian conditions, sorry to say this, but this is for something I asked you to consider. If you look at the standards, some are 3 decades old, and if you look at the side distance, it's a 4-decade-old standard, and most of the engineers don't understand the concept of side distance at all. So we need to step up the game and update the standards. In side distance, especially this is Warangal to Tada Road, there is no concept of side visibility there, and this is one of the roundabout, and this is something we need to put in the new codes. Even the junctions should have the visibility. What we do is we end up with the developments without looking at the visibility. This is for something Naharji to consider and put these into the place. And if you look at some of the other standards, I know some of these maybe are being updated, but if you look at most of them are 3 decades or 4 decades old. So the idea is to update them regularly to be at par with the advanced countries, and appoint a consultant with an international exposure for 3 to 5 year period. And the chair yesterday afternoon was saying that the research institute who directly get involved in the field problems should get involved in the field problems. So they should be given additional grants, who directly get involved. The chair should consider incorporating, standardizing the cross section for different category of roads, for different right of ways, like different scenarios. Now the metro is being planned in various cities. There should be a standard cross section for metro, where the national highways are passing through. Different cities are adopting different cross sections. So the minister was talking about the utility corridors, and we should have some cross section put into the standard wherein it shows the different utilities being color coded, gas for red, the yellow for the telephone. Everyone should follow that particular standard. They can't deviate, and for all the new developments and new roads being planned. And moving on to vehicle types and models, this part of this was covered by Mr. Banath yesterday, but I'm going to cover the engineering part of it. So most countries have allow only articulated or multi-axle trucks to fly on the roads to carry the goods. One of the reasons is the multi-axle vehicles actually distribute the load along the pavement, causing the less distress to the pavement. That is one of the reasons. And the other reason is, it's uniform. And the vehicle manufacturers they upgrade their vehicles, and contribute to the road safety and environment. And Euro norms have evolved from there, Euro 2, and now we have Bharat 2 and 4. So the Indian condition, and this was pointedly taken up by Mr. Banath yesterday, and mostly the goods are carried by the Tata, Ashok Leyland, and Mahindra. But there is no restriction to control the loads, and the different sizes have different loading, different sizes. The irregular causes visibility issues. You know, if you look at this, we've seen this photograph. There's no road view. The way visibility is being blocked, and you know, the auto. You know, he mentioned about the auto. The base design itself is wrong. If you look at the vehicle auto, the front part is narrow, as you know, it is wider at the back, so the driver doesn't have any visibility at the back. So I request the IRC to involve the vehicle manufacturers also in the ongoing in the future deliberations during the sessions, so that they are you know, updated, and so that they can go back and look at redesigning some of their vehicles. So vehicle types. You know, if you have a common standard vehicles, every driver reacts to the, you know, correct vehicle, and if you have standard vehicles and standard load, it removes the need for axle load surveys. You can save the money. You don't have to do the axle load survey to get the loading. But if you know the standard size, you know how much it's going to carry. So it removes the need for axle load surveys. And vehicle manufacturers shall be involved in the IRC deliberations in the future sessions, so that they get the feedback from these sessions. Moving on to engineering, for a 20-kilometer road in the advanced countries, it takes 8 to 10 years. You know, if you look at the split, the detailed design, they spend 2 to 3 years, and the planning is also is a very lengthy process where the public is involved and everyone work as a team. To get the final product. But if you look at the, you know, the Indian conditions, you know, they have the drainage, and if you look at the Indian conditions, for the 20-kilometer, it may be taking 7 to 8 years, but if you look at the split, the detailed design is done 6 months without looking at the macro detail and micro detail. So there's no visibility of sight distance. We spend a lot of time in the land acquisition and the construction, but we give least importance in the detailed design. And you know, there are lots of others. There's no drainage is mandatory, not mandatory. There's no sufficient knowledge on safety barriers. There's an incorrect placement of signs. There's a lack of, what is happening is there's a lack of coordination or integration between different disciplines, and the schemes resulting in the poor design. If there is a high-profile scheme coming up, the existing infrastructure is undermined. An example of this, you know, if you're familiar with this figure, you know, where the water, when the water gets it to the bottom of the ground, the water table rises, and due to capillary action, the pavement gets deteriorated. But what is happening in some of the metros in some cities, the metro is being planned without looking at the road. So if you look at the Hyderabad metro, I don't know if the stakeholders from the metro or the agents are here, they should be looking at this. I have advised them, but you know, this seems to have been ignored. What is happening is, if there was no metro, all the water would have fallen and you know, drained off. But if you build the metro, it is collecting the water, and the water is being pushed through the small chute, creating a funnel effect, and that's going into the ground, and the water goes into the ground, and the pavement is deteriorated. You know, due to the recent floods in Hyderabad, all the roads were damaged, and they have been overlaid recently, so there is a chance that they may get deteriorated. So we need to address the basic issue of providing a drainage to the metros. So there's there's a plan, metro coming up in Nagpur and Vijayawada. So if there's agencies from these places are there, you need to look at something regarding the drainage of the metro. You know, this is so awareness is education. So the road user behavior comes from the education at schools. The pupils, the students are taught the right uses of information, signs, vehicle types, where to cross as a pedestrian, what to do, what not to do. But the Indian condition, there's no courses on road user behavior and information on road furniture at school level. So drivers of commercial vehicles are mostly uneducated and can't understand the messages and signs. The designers are also not well trained or are not skilled to safe design of roads. So the road safety is part of 4 categories: driver training and driving tests. So it is compulsory to have the driver training minimum 12 to 848 classes in Europe, and then only they can sit for the exam. The tester actually not only tests the driving skills, but that also observes the behavior skills, and if there is any confusion or hesitation in applying the brakes, or in the observation of the hazard, that will lead to failure of the test. He cannot pass the test. So this inculcates the good behavior and the responsibility into the individuals. So, but if you look at the Indian condition, there's no formal training required to take driving tests, or it is not mandatory to take driving before the appearing for tests. No behavioral patterns are observed. The testers have no skills in conducting tests. Driving schools themselves have no knowledge of what the responsible driving is. So there is no understanding of the concept of lane driving, lane discipline, when to indicate, when not to indicate. Even people are not aware of using the floodlights. You're not supposed to use the high beam. So, but there's lots of other things. This should be coming as part of the driving test itself. Roadworthiness, this was covered.
Excuse me, please finish in 2 minutes.
Sorry, yeah.
Your time is over.
Yeah. So the roadworthiness, this was covered by Mr. Banath yesterday, and all the vehicles after the purchase have to be tested after 1 year for trucks and after 3 to 4 years for cars and the other vehicles. So, and if the test fails, they get the certificate, fail test. And I'm glad that something is coming up in India to test the vehicles, and Mr. Banath was mentioning yesterday, and only pollution certificate is required for the vehicles, and no strict enforcement to stop the old vehicles emitting smoke. So crash investigation, when there is a crash, not only cops, the vehicle manufacturer, the engineering team gets involved in the crash investigation to find out what happened. That's how the vehicle manufacturer gets involved, and the airbags and ABS and various other improvements have evolved from those investigations. So in India, the cops, it is mostly done by the cops for criminal proceedings, and the data contains only where it is involved, and always often finds faults with the drivers. So the reasons could be vehicle not roadworthy, and it may be poor, and the other vehicle, it may be the fault of the other vehicle. So campaign, there's a campaign done at a community level, and everyone pledged to make, to be road safe, conscious. And India, even though the road safety campaign has become